In today's video, we're going to do a little comparison between New Bedford and Boston, Massachusetts. We're going to go over some of the pros and some of the cons of each city. This will help you decide maybe if you're somebody that is looking to move to Boston, or maybe you're thinking about moving to New Bedford and stay kind of close to Boston. So let's look at the population. As the time of this video, right now we are in September in 2024. The current population right now in Boston is right around 644,000 people. And in New Bedford, we are just a little bit over 100,000 people. Now let's look at the job opportunities. When it comes to job opportunities, obviously Boston is going to have more opportunities than New Bedford. When it comes to job, New Bedford is actually limited. There's a lot of people that work outside of New Bedford. Some people work in Boston. Some people work around the Boston suburbs, around the Cape. So when it comes to job, I give it to Boston. Obviously, Boston being way bigger than New Bedford. So you're definitely going to find more jobs opportunity there, while in New Bedford, there's not a lot of job here in New Bedford. Now, let's compare the cost of living. It's no surprise, as Boston being the capital, and, Boston offers way more opportunities than New Bedford. But the cost of living in Boston is way higher than New Bedford. If you compare, let's say, if you're going to buy a home there, the median home price there in Boston is at least 800,000 and up, and while here in New Bedford you could get something for under 400,000. And if you're also going to rent there in Boston, it's definitely going to cost you more money. The average rent over there in Boston is going to run you at least $3,000 and up, or $4,000 and up, while here in New Bedford you can still get something for $1,400 to $1,500 a month. Although New Bedford is kind of getting expensive too compared to before. I remember we used to rent for like $600, $700, but that's not the case anymore here. New Bedford is actually kind of getting more expensive. Houses are getting more expensive. We have more people moving to New Bedford, especially people coming from a different state, and people coming from different cities too. That's kind of bringing the traffic up. Also, we're gonna have the train hopefully by 2025. So that's going to bring more traffic, and New Bedford I just think it's going to get more expensive and expensive. So when it comes to cost of living, Boston is definitely more expensive than New Bedford. So if you're on a budget, let's say if you're going to be working in Boston, maybe you have a job opportunity, or if you're going to be studying in Boston but you don't want to live there in Boston, obviously you don't want to be paying a lot, and you're looking for something that is less. You're looking for a budget while you can still get while you can still be kind of close to Boston, then you might want to choose New Bedford. Now, the next thing that we're going to compare is the traffic. So when it comes to traffic, obviously, you probably know this already, but Boston is like, the traffic sucks. The traffic, it's terrible there in Boston. So here in New Bedford, I wouldn't say we don't have traffic. During the rush hour, we get a little bit of traffic here and there, but it's nothing compared to Boston. When I go to Boston for like my doctor's appointment, I always get stuck in the traffic. Or when I go to the airport, if I'm traveling, always you're gonna get stuck in the traffic. So that's something that I think Boston is actually I think is rated number 2, one of the worst city when it comes to traffic. And I think New York is number 1, and I think Boston is number 2. Correct me if I'm wrong, but anyways, traffic is really bad in Boston. So if you're looking for a place that you don't want to deal with the traffic, and if you're looking for a place where you can kind of get on the highway right away, or you can it's just easy to drive, then I would say New Bedford. Now Boston, it's really difficult to kind of get through it, kind of drive through. I remember a couple of years back, I used to do Uber, and one time I went to do Uber over there. It's just terrible. It's just like the traffic sucks. And on top of the traffic is the parking spot. It is almost impossible to find a parking spot in Boston. Even when you go to those garage where you drive in and then you go park, it's even in there, it's kind of hard to park over there. I remember one day I went to an appointment in Boston. I was looking for a parking spot. Even though I got there 30 minutes earlier, I still got late to my appointment. It took me like 40 minutes to find a parking spot. I went to one garage, I went all the way to the roof, no parking spot. I had to get out of there, went to another garage, no parking spot. And obviously you can't really park on the street. So, and then I went to another garage, I had to park all the way on the 8th floor. So, like I said, if you're gonna be moving to Boston, just be prepared that it's going to be very hard to find a parking spot. Sometimes it can get frustrating, and I only go to Boston when I have my appointments, and I just go and then come back. But Boston, Obviously, being the capital, there's a lot of opportunities there, but it can be very stressful. So just that's something that you need to keep in mind. While New Bedford is, it's a lot quieter than Boston. Now, the next thing that we're gonna compare is the weather. So when it comes to the weather, obviously we have all 4 seasons, but let's talk a little bit about the winter. As you know, Massachusetts, it does get really cold here in Massachusetts, and Boston, it does get really, really cold. They do get some heavy snow, and while New Bedford, it gets really cold as well. We get heavy snow here, but I do believe Boston it gets way colder than New Bedford. But if you don't mind, if you're somebody that maybe, some people like the winter, some people don't, but here in New Bedford, it does get cold too. In Boston, it does get cold there as well, and also it does get some heavy snow. But I prefer New Bedford rather than Boston when it comes to winter time. But that's something that you need to be prepared when it comes to winter time. Make sure you have all your winter gears. And also here in New Bedford, it's something that when it comes to winter time, you gotta put like snow tires. You gotta prepare, get your jacket, gloves, and everything, because especially if you're gonna be walking maybe to schools, or maybe you're gonna be walking to work during the winter time. It does get really cold. There's some mornings it gets really cold, and some nights. So when it comes to winter, I would say both of them. When it comes to winter, I would say both of them. It does get really cold. Now let's compare the education. Obviously, when it comes to education, I'll give it to Boston. As you know, Boston is the #1 when it comes to education. Boston has, the top universities, top schools, while New Bedford, the schools are not the best here. The education system here it's not that great. Although they're they've been building new schools. I see that we have a couple new schools, couple elementary schools here and there. But obviously, Boston is when it comes to education, New Bedford is not even near. So, but like I said, if you're gonna be studying in Boston, but you wanna stay somewhere close, and if you're gonna drive from New Bedford to Boston, it's about 50 minutes without traffic. But obviously, you're gonna find traffic almost every time. I guarantee you that. And the other thing too, when you go to Boston, most of the time they're doing construction work, so you're gonna get stuck in the traffic. There's no question about that, no doubt about that. Now, when it comes to restaurants, New Bedford probably has one of the best restaurants in the state, but Boston also have great restaurants as well. New Bedford has some great seafood restaurant. One of my favorite restaurants here in New Bedford is the Black Whale. So if you've never been there, I highly recommend you check them out. It's right there near downtown. They make some amazing seafood, and New Bedford has all type of restaurants here: Dominican restaurant, Mexican restaurant, and we have Portuguese restaurant. I mean, you name it. We have almost every type of food: Japanese, Chinese. While Boston also has the same. There's a great place there that you can eat, but when it comes to restaurants, for me, I would give it to New Bedford. I mean, by the way, this is my personal opinion here, and also I'm a real estate agent here. If you think about moving to any part of Massachusetts, or if you're local, feel free to reach out to me. You can give me a call, send me a text, email. The number that you see on the screen, that's my personal phone number. You could just shoot me a text. Also, book a Zoom call with me where we can meet face to face. Now, I heard in Boston that it's kind of hard to make friends. I heard that people sometimes don't really talk to you. I mean, I don't know if that's true. If you're from Boston, if you're watching this video, maybe leave a comment below. Let me know your thoughts on it. But here in New Bedford, I find it easy to make friends, especially here. You're gonna find people from all over the place. And I remember back in high school, I had friends from like India, I had friends from Guatemala, friends from Mexico, friends from Portugal. It's like, I still see some of them till this day, but I find New Bedford kind of easy to make friends. Sometimes, when I used to go out, it's easy to talk to people, and people usually are nice here in New Bedford. In Boston, they said people sometimes don't really talk to you. You might find a hard time making new friends there. Comment below if you're from Boston, and if is it hard to make friends there in Boston. Now let's talk about noise a little bit. So when it comes to Boston, it's really crowded, especially during summertime. You're gonna find so many people walking on the streets, people on the bike, people like crossing the street with the traffic. I mean, it's really loud. When I go there to my appointment, I just want to go there and get out of there. while here in New Bedford it's a lot quieter than Boston. Here in New Bedford too, sometimes it can get loud during the summertime with a lot of events that they do here, a lot of parties. There's a lot of bars, clubs here in New Bedford. Sometimes it can get loud, but Boston is way louder than New Bedford, especially like when you're driving around and during the nighttime too. There's great bars in Boston. There's great bars in New Bedford. Like I said, they do a lot of events here. They also do some events in Boston. But if you're somebody that is looking for somewhere that's a lot quieter, then I would pick New Bedford. Now let's talk about a little bit about nightlife. So when it comes to nightlife, New Bedford is actually a great place for nightlife, especially here in downtown. There's a lot of bars there, a lot of clubs that you can go have a good time with your friends. And Boston also, when it comes to nightlife, it's also great. Sometimes I go there, I go there to a restaurant. It's actually both of them are great. But here in New Bedford, nightlife, it's really good here. Like I said, easy to make friends. Whether you're somebody that is looking to move to Boston, or maybe if you're thinking about moving to New Bedford, this is kind of just to give you a little comparison. And like I said, if you have any questions, reach out to me anytime. All of my information is in the description below. And if you want to learn more about New Bedford, subscribe to the channel. Also, go to my channel, check out some other videos that I did, check out some vlogs that I did here in New Bedford. I'm planning to do one vlog tour in Boston to kind of give you an idea, how it's Boston. So subscribe, stay tuned for that. Until then, I'll see you guys on the next video.